Turn down my mic a bit. What is my mic picking up? Testing. Whoa, testing. Testing. Why am I going in the red? Still too hot. Still too hot. Testing. Jesus. Okay, what does this sound like? I'm gonna be ready for this tomorrow too, so sound like. I'm gonna be ready for this tomorrow too, so sound like. Testing one. I'm gonna be ready for this tomorrow too, so sound like. Testing one. Test. Testing one. Testing. There we go. Okay, cool. Oh, I guess it helps that I have my mic closer now. So, and turn it down a bit. There we go. It's still getting into the red. How about there? That's still getting into the red. How about there? Testing. Testing. I'm gonna be ready. Testing. Testing. Doesn't seem to be an issue. I don't know why it's peaking so much though. Oh. That explains it. There we go. I was messing with the volume of the speakers and not the microphone. So let's adjust that a little bit so I'm not getting cut off here. There we go. All right, that should be better. Not getting cut off here. There we go. All right, that should be better. Alright, 75 seems to be pretty decent. What am I doing here?
Hello, I'm Crafty Andy.
Hello?
Hello, I'm Crafty.
Why does it pop in like that?
Hello, I'm Andy. Hello, I'm Crafty Andy, and this is CraftyARts. When it comes to Has-Been Hotel, I didn't want to just make some fan art and go over the same talking points others have done a million times already, analyzing all the characters.
Oh,
I think it's more...
Fuck off. Delay, just delay, delay, delay. Anyways, I'm Crafty Andy. This is my main channel, CraftyARts, WeirdZoRs, PawsOff. Yep, vacation's coming to an end. It's my last day. I'm gonna go back to the job. I spent 2 of those days playing video games. One day doesn't count, 'cause, you know, visiting family and all that. Well, hopefully I'll make up for it today. Got about 4 hours of sleep last night. Got roughly about 5 hours before people come over for D&D. And effectively my day's over after that.
Yeah.
3 days I'll be able to at least get 5 hours of work done on here.
Hello, I'm Crafty Andy, and this is CraftyARts. When it comes to Has-Been Hotel, I didn't want to just make some fan art and go over the same talking points others have done a million times already, analyzing all the characters and settings. Instead, I think it's more important to talk about the ideas and settings. Instead, I think it's more
What is that noise?
Instead, I think
Why is there like a...
important.
It's like a... It's like a Copeland... Gross,
Instead,
sticky sound.
Instead, I think it's more. Instead, I think it's more important to talk about the idea and societal reflections it inspires by its mere concept alone. This is an examination on the idea of rehabilitation versus punishment.
BTW,
Specifically,
hello. And how is ye today?
United States prison system.
The US has the most incarcerated people of any nation on Earth, both by sheer numbers and per capita. As of June 2020, there were 2,121,000 prisoners currently serving time in the US, and a total of over 10 million in the prison system, which includes those waiting for trial and those on parole.
Has-Been Hotel is a collaboration between a number of people who made some great animations and characters paired up with a great concept. The Princess of Hell, Charlie, with her girlfriend Vagatha, are starting a hotel to try and rehabilitate souls so they can get out of hell, rather than possibly being subject to the yearly purge to quell the population. It's fantastic. It has this sort of Nicktoon presentation, but without any of the restrictions. So it's actually a show kids will love, but don't watch it if you're a kid. I'm just saying, if you're a kid and watch this, know that I told you not to, okay? We cool? I mean, I got to watch all kinds of R-rated movies like Nightmare on Elm Street, the Blob remake. I turned out fine. Any fucking ways. My favorite character is Radio Demon, Alistair.
May I speak?
On Elm Street, the Blob remake. I turned out fine. Any fucking ways. My favorite character is Radio Demon, Alistair.
May I speak now?
You may.
Alistair, pleasure to be meeting you, sweetheart. Quite a pleasure.
Stop right there! God, we're all equal to better. I know you're gay. And I'm not gonna let you hurt anyone here, you pompous, cheesy talk show shitlord.
Dear, if I wanted to hurt anyone here, I would have done so already.
I hope that it gets into more deeper themes as we get more character development, which I imagine we will since it got picked up by A24 and is now coming out on January 2024, already having 2 seasons lined up, as of updating the script that I've had since 2019. Right now, it's still just a pilot, and I can see the potential for an overarching story while mixing in the occasional Demon of the Week. The question this pilot poses is, can people that are deemed irredeemable change? Which in this case, we are dealing with people and beings determined irredeemable by the divine. Rather than break down the pilot or yet be another sap analyzing the characters, let's dive into the actual main theme I identify with in regards to this concept. Intended or not, it definitely relates to the prison system here in the States. America has the highest prison population in the world per capita thanks to the help of not only private prisons that make money by keeping people locked up as long as possible, but also because it systematically sets up people for failure.
God damn it. There.
In a time when crime rates are the lowest they've been in decades, these private prisons are guaranteed to have their cells filled. If those cells aren't filled, they're still paid as if they were. And guess who pays the bill? US taxpayers.
Even exonerated prisoners like Glenn Ford can walk out with little to build a life on.
Glenn Ford was given a $20 gift card the day he left Angola prison.
Gave me a card for $20 and said, wish you luck.
Especially if you're poor and have to inevitably plead guilty for a lesser sentence to avoid waiting for years in jail before even having a proper trial, because you can't afford bail.
Right now, I have clients numbering in the 60s. A jury trial means the week before is entirely dedicated to preparation, and then the week of the trial is entirely dedicated to the trial. That means if I'm in a jury trial, that's 2 weeks of nobody else hearing anything from me, and these are folks who are in jail, worried about losing their jobs, worried about not being able to make rent.
I'd be amiss to not mention the farce on drugs started by the Nixon administration, which purposely targeted anti-war protesters, but especially black people.
President Richard Nixon's advisors, John Ehrlichman. You want to know what this was really all about? Ehrlichman said to the reporter. The Nixon campaign in 1968. About the drugs? Of course we did.
Let me list out the ways that our current system fucks you for those who need a little education. A person convicted of a crime is placed into a hole, where they get to sit around and stew in their thoughts. A few times a day, they get to mingle with other convicted criminals. Some violent, some suffering from untreated mental illness, some both. You have guards not equipped to do anything other than be grown-up babysitters that are allowed to abuse or let you be abused with no recourse available. After time served, you're let out with a kick in the ass and a good luck for good measure. Generally, society sees you as irredeemable. If you have a felony record, you're nearly fucked for life in terms of employment and opportunities.
Once someone has been released from prison, it's much harder to find a job. And 2 out of 3 end up right back in a cell because their situation is so desperate. We've even seen people commit tiny crimes and purposefully get arrested because then at least they'd have a roof over their heads.
The idea of the prison corrections...
I also have another example other than this guy.
Much harder to find a job. And 2 out of 3 end up right back in a cell because
Yeah, you should still be able to vote even if you're a convicted criminal or felon. Makes no sense to me otherwise. Like, what are they gonna do? Make crime legal? Ugh, yeah. Oh, Henry Rollins. Big Thing Demon doing things still? Okay. Walls closing on crypto industry. I don't know what you call it an industry, but anyways. Let's see this works.
Prisons in America specifically are some of the biggest, most dysfunctional businesses.
For an advanced society, the conditions in our prisons are quite appalling.
The worst parts to deal with were just the sheer brutality of it.
People who quite
why is there like one guy like almost looks like he's existing in 360p?
No businesses.
For an advanced
like what is this? Is he cut out? Looks like he's cut out from another video.
Society, the conditions in our prisons are quite appalling.
The worst parts to deal with were just the sheer brutality of it.
People who have made mistakes should be deserving of a second chance.
The impact that incarceration has on reducing...
I would say a second chance is if you served your time, you're done. That's it. Start again. Try again. But yeah, I get what he means.
The crime rate is quite marginal.
There are many better, cost-effective ways to reduce crime, and we haven't done them.
This prison industrial complex is a human rights crisis.
The United States is the world's leading warden. It has more people incarcerated in prison and jail as in absolute numbers and as a proportion of the population than any other country in the world. So it incarcerates about 700 per 100,000 people in prison or jail. This is about 5 to 12 times the rate of other Western countries and Japan. We've got about 160,000 people who are serving life sentences in the United States now, and a number of them who are serving life in prison without the possibility of parole, in some cases equals the entire prison populations of other large countries. In my state alone of Pennsylvania, we're spending as much to send somebody, keep someone in a state prison as to send them to college at some of the leading colleges or universities in the state for the year. There's a political issue about the legitimacy of the political system that locks up so many people and disproportionately locks up so many people of color and so many people who are poor. So often when we talk about prisons and jails, we talk about the numbers, how many people in prison or how many people in jail. What we overlook is that we have some of the most degrading, dehumanizing prisons and jails in any developed country.
For an advanced society, the conditions in our prisons are quite appalling. Going to an American prison increases your chance of getting HIV/AIDS. Going to American prison increases your chance of getting tuberculosis. Going to American prison increases your chance of being raped, whether you're a man or a woman, and increases your chance of being raped either by prison staff or by other prisoners, and so on. I mean, it's just appalling what goes on in our prisons. I think it's completely uncontroversial that these things are appalling. You are not sentenced to AIDS. You are not sentenced to rape. You are sentenced to incarceration.
The hardest parts of being in prison, the worst parts to deal with, were just the sheer brutality of it. You know, there were times when I was beaten so bad that I started to piss blood. You know, they're not going to spend a lot of time and money and energy taking care of someone they plan on killing. So it's not like you're going to see a real doctor or a real dentist. You know, at one point I'd been hit in the face so many times by prison guards that it caused a lot of nerve damage in my teeth. So I was in horrendous pain. Your choices are live in pain or let them pull your teeth out. I didn't want them to pull my teeth out, so I had to find techniques that would allow me to cope with the physical pain.
When I think about my journey through in prison, I went through some very adverse experiences. I had some significant obstacles to overcome, including long-term solitary confinement, which they estimate is designed to drive a person crazy after 90 days. And what I found in that environment is that people figure out ways to cope and to survive when they're forced to do so.
The 13th Amendment in the Constitution, in the United States Constitution, it says that slavery is illegal. So we can't have slavery anymore, except for punishment of a crime. So everybody get your Constitution out, look up the 13th Amendment, and you see the clause that says except for punishment of a crime. Yes. So if you are convicted of a crime, then you're exempt from that 13th Amendment saying that slavery is abolished. So that means that you're allowed to work as a slave, slave labor, slave wages. So you have people working for 10 cents an hour, 11 cents an hour who are doing agriculture, working for huge corporations. I don't want to name them because there's so many, but a lot of the goods and services that we take for granted, clothing lines, computer parts, airplane parts, military equipment, food that we buy organically grown. These things are being manufactured in prisons, in prison farms, in prison factories by inmates.
Prisons in America specifically are some of the biggest, most dysfunctional businesses we have in our society. When I was in prison, I worked for 17 cents an hour. That was my starting rate working in the kitchen. But there's also big corporations who invest in prison labor because they can get this labor for $1.50 an hour. And then the sad part about it is that in turn, they don't even hire these men and women when they're actually released from prison.
We have many people, not only do they serve their time, but once they leave, it's still as if they have an F, felon, as sort of the scarlet letter for the rest of their lives, because they've served their time, but they're not allowed to vote, they're not allowed to get welfare benefits, they can't get food stamps, they may not be able to get student loans, they may not be allowed to live in certain places, and they may not be permitted to get licenses for certain jobs, even jobs like hairstylist, which
That's what I was looking for right there.
Once someone has been released from prison, it's much harder to find it.
As irredeemable. If you have a felony record, you're nearly fucked for life.
To invest in prison labor.
612.
licenses for certain jobs, even jobs with their time, but they're not allowed to vote. It's still as if they have an F. Not only do
they're actually released from prison.
we have many people, not only do they serve their time, but once they leave, it's still as if they have an F, felon, as sort of the scarlet letter for the rest of their lives, because they've served their time, but they're not allowed to vote, they're not allowed to get welfare benefits, they can't get food stamps, they may not be able to get student loans, they may not be allowed to live in certain places, and they may not be permitted to get licenses for certain jobs, even jobs like hairstylist. Which many people learn in prison. They learn how to be barbers, and then they come out, they can't get licensed because they have a criminal conviction and face extreme discrimination.
I walked out of prison with a lot of optimism, despite being told by the officers that I would probably be back in 6 months. And when I walked out, I thought that I was returning to a society that would be a lot more forgiving and a lot more open to me getting a second chance if I was willing to follow the rules of society. So get out, look for a job, prove that I want to work, volunteer in my community, you know, figure out ways to add value. And sadly and unfortunately, society is not really forgiving and not really as open to second chances as I thought they would be. And
Nope,
it's
only
really
Jesus
sad.
is a fictional character.
People, not only do they serve their time,
When they're actually released from prison.
we have many people, not only do they serve their time,
Prison.
we have many we have many people, not only
List out the ways that are
may not be listening because they have a criminal conviction and face extreme discrimination.
Once someone has been released from prison, it's much harder to find a job. And 2 out of 3 end up right back in a cell because their situation is so desperate. We've even seen people commit time to find a job.
Right there.
Which many people learn and face extreme discrimination.
And 2 out of 3 end up right back in a cell because their situation is so desperate. We've even seen people commit tiny crimes.
Keep going though.
And many people learn in prison, they learn how to be barbers, and then they come out, they can't get licensed because they have a criminal conviction and face extreme discrimination.
I walked out of prison with a lot of optimism, despite being told by the officers that I would probably be back in 6 months. And when I walked out, I thought that I was returning to a society that would be a lot more forgiving and a lot more open to the sense that 90% of people have a choice in how we, the sense that 90% of people who are incarcerated will at some point return home. And we have a choice in how we welcome men and women back to our community. I personally believe that there's not a human being that isn't without flaws, that hasn't had a bad moment, and nobody.
Yeah, I mean, nothing would have probably nothing I ever did landed me would have landed me in jail, but fines at least, misdemeanors.
People want to be held hostage.
I'm sure it has nothing to do with the fact I was in a middle class raising.
To that moment for the rest of their life. Once a person has served their time, that means that they should come out with a clean slate and an opportunity to start over. And if we want them to have a successful transition, it means we have to be willing to give them a true second chance and not keep bringing up the past, unless they're, repeating that behavior. But in most cases, most people want to just get out, move on with their life, find employment, find a safe place to live, and be free to enjoy the fullness of life.
I'm a taxpayer. And anything that we can do to reduce recidivism, keep people off of the rolls as an expense, a government expense in a prison, and as taxpayers is a positive. So there's that part of me. We have 7.3 million open jobs and only 6 million people currently looking for jobs, which means we have a talent shortage. And if we can do anything to eliminate that talent shortage, that's 1.3 million people roughly. Every year, some 700,000 or so people are released from jails and prisons in America. So just we can use some of that population, that 700,000 person population, to make a dent in that 1.3 million person deficit. So it's just practically smart. And then the third part of me, which is more humanitarian based, is people who have made mistakes should be deserving of a second chance. It is just, because all of us have made mistakes. Some have been caught, some haven't. But these people have presumably paid their debt to society. And if the idea is I make a mistake at 25 years old, I go to jail for 5 years or prison for 5 years, and then I get out, what do I have to look forward to if forever I'm going to wear the scarlet letter, convict to see that says I'll never get another opportunity? Life is over then. The holy grail of this would be if we could identify people who are 6 months, a year away from release and begin giving them transitional skills, work skills, life skills. Think about this. If I was just meeting with someone who's been incarcerated for 25 years, the cell phone, as we know it, didn't exist then. So when they come out, they're gonna have to get adjusted to all of that. The world has literally transformed in 25 years. So in an ideal state, we would begin helping them transition back into a world that they pushed the pause button 2.5 decades ago. And we've got to catch them up pretty quickly so that they acclimate and don't recidivate. That's number one. But once we do get them out, the most important thing we can do is get them back to work. Housing and work. And they're sort of inextricably intertwined, but housing is critical, and we've got to find places for people to have a permanent place. Mind you, they've had housing for some significant period of time, and on the outside, absent that, there's an instability that makes them more vulnerable. And then you got to pay for that housing, which is where the job comes in. We employers have to reach out to this population and let all of our biases go away. We really do have to overcome our own biases. We talk about implicit bias, unconscious bias. People think, oh, that's just in the context of race.
The idea of the prison corrections system is to reform people, teach them what they did was wrong, and help them become productive in their own lives. Something you don't learn in solitary or being forced to interact with other prisoners and guards who wouldn't care beyond having a mess to clean up if you just dropped dead. Let's not forget how prison rape is seen as something hilarious and part of the punishment to a lot of people.
Check out the new meat. I'm gonna slather you up in Navi and jelly. Go to town.
This is never going to work. Of course it will. You look very pretty. That's what they'll say in jail.
Love is in the air.
The reality is we are addicted to self-gratifying emotional punishment. That guy hurt someone?
Punish.
Stole something?
Punish.
Sexual assault or a teenager sexting with their lover?
Punish.
That guy murdered someone?
Finish him.
Why is it locking up? Play.
System that reforms should go beyond our emotional desires to get even with those who wronged us. To see people rise above their wrongs rather than be weighted down by them still decades later. I'm not above it myself. If someone hurt someone I loved, there would be hell to pay, and who wouldn't feel that way? That's the point. My emotional compromise, a desire for revenge, shouldn't trump the idea of actual human justice and rehabilitation. An ethical system should go beyond an individual's emotion. Within the realm of has-been hotel, here's the predicament and the source of a lot of mockery Charlie faces. Taking in individuals who are damned to hell and trying to rehabilitate them so they can move on to a better life.
What in the 9 circles makes you think a single denizen of hell would give 2 shits about becoming a better person?
I think a lot of lives would be better if we started adapting that concept like other developed nations have. Because what we have right now is pretty fucked up. A good example would be the Kids for Cash documentary. The story of 2 judges that threw hundreds of kids The story of 2 judges that threw hundreds.
What the hell is that?
Documentary. The story of 2 judges that threw hundreds of kids into the prison system and received financial kickbacks for doing so.
I was known for being the jokester.
Eddie, he was always a fireball.
We were talking about how funny it would be if we made a fake MySpace page about my vice principal.
I was trying to stay out of trouble. That's when everything started.
He stuck it inside the cap. To a 10-year-old in a schoolyard fight without serious injuries after she tried to explain that she was assaulted and was defending herself. Civarella told me there's no such thing as self-defense. To a 13-year-old cited for...
Gotta change the title text there. Or it's just, it could just lock up.
Graffiti is a martyr on a school window. When I went to the pre-hearing meeting, they said that I was not... going to get placed anywhere, that I was just going to get probation. And then I was in front of Civarella and he said he was going to make an example out of me, and then he shipped me off to Camp Adams. Many victims spoke of being placed in facilities populated by individuals. Then he shipped me off to Camp Adams. Many victims spoke of being placed in facilities populated by individuals charged with far more serious offenses, including armed robbery, arson, aggravated assault, sexual offenses, and other violent felonies.
I think it needs to go on just a bit longer so we get that Eminem story in there.
No. One witness remarked on the stark contrast in charges between juveniles from Luzerne County and other areas of the state, noting, "The people that I was housed with at Camp Adams were there for serious offenses from surrounding counties. You know, assaulting an officer, robbery, arson. And then there were people for stealing a pack of M&Ms or getting into a tiff with their high school teacher."
juxtaposition there. Jesus Christ, man.
Of M&Ms or getting into a tiff with their high school teacher.
I also have some personal stories. A friend of mine, named Bob, got held up at gunpoint one night by a hooded thief. Mr. Robber took his wallet, looked inside, and after a few moths flew out, he threw it back at Bob saying, "Man, you got no fucking cash." "Of course I got no fucking cash. I'm as black as you are," Bob responds. Mr. Robber left him be and went about his day. People asked, "Why didn't you report it to the police?" "What am I gonna do? Tell him a hooded black man robbed me in the poor part of town?" Really, I kind of agree. Let's be real here. If the police even dared take it seriously, oftentimes they don't, see Kansas City police leaders allegedly ordered officers to target minority neighborhoods to meet ticket quotas. Tell them to be ready to kill every...
Nah, I think it still fits. Anyways, I need that Kansas story. Well, this is on... Oh, that's cute. Oh, funny, I have this already here. Two things. Funny, this is in Kentucky, Kansas City too. Interesting. You won't get a fucking dime from the city, who wrongly convicted him for 3 fucking years. It's kind of like a upset laugh at the same time. Alright. I'm so fucking exhausted. I fucking did the whole cut there. Oh, you know what? I know where this fits too. This fits pretty good here. So put this right in here.
Let me list out the ways that are the actual main theme I identify with in Recruitment of the Week. The question in this pilot states, America has the highest prison population in the world per capita, thanks to the help of not only private prisons that make money by keeping people locked up as long as possible, but also because it systematically sets up people for failure.
In a time when crime rates are the lowest they've been in decades, these private prisons are guaranteed to have...
To a third... I also have some personal stories. A friend of mine, named Bob. You have guards not equipped to do anything other than...
President Richard Nixon's advisors, John Ehrlichman.
...for a lesser sentence to avoid waiting for... relates to the prison system here in the States. America... rather than break down the pilot or yet, especially if you're poor and have to never. But also because it systematically sets up people for proper trial because you can't afford bail.
Right now, I have.
My favorite character is Radio Demon.
121,000 prisoners currently serving time in the U.S.
People.
Check out.
This is never going to work.
What in the 9 circles?
Talking about how funny it
Where
would
the
be
fuck is the
if we
John
made a
Oliver's
fake MySpace
clip
page
I
of-
pulled?
In my late 30s now, and I'm
Even exonerated prisoners like
There
Glenn
it
Ford
is.
can walk out with little to build a
concept. Intended or not, it definitely relates by keeping people locked up as long as possible, but also because it systematically sets up people for failure.
In a time when crime...
Even exonerate...
Especially if you're poor and have to inevitably plead guilty for a lesser sentence to avoid waiting for years in jail before even having a proper trial, because you can't afford bail.
Right now, I have.
By the actual main.
Where's the
Did
one where
we
I
know
say
we were live?
Illness, some both. You have guards not equipped to do. Society sees you as irredeemable. Be grown-up babysitters that are allowed to. A system fucks you for those who need a. Where they get to sit around and stew in their thoughts. A few times a day, they get to mingle with others. If you have a felony in terms of employment and opportunities.
And 2 out of 3 end up right back in a...
Idea of the best to clean up if you just drop dead. Let's not forget how prison rape reality is. We are addicted to. System that reforms should go beyond our emotional desires to get even with those who wronged us. To see people rise above their wrongs rather than be weighted down by them still, decades later. I'm not above it myself. If someone hurt someone I loved, there would be hell to pay, and who wouldn't feel that way? That's the point. My emotional compromise, a desire for revenge, shouldn't trump the idea of actual human justice and rehabilitation. An ethical system should go beyond an individual's emotion. Within the realm of
circles.
I think a lot of lives would be better if we started adapting for Cash documentary. The story of 2 judges that threw hundreds of kids into the prison system and received financial. I also have some personal stories. Friend of mine named Bob. Mr. Robert, agree. Let's be real here. It's to meet ticket quotas. Tell him to be.
There it is. Well, there's that one at least. I guess. I don't know. Fuck.
Really, I kind of agree. The police even dared take it seriously. Oftentimes they don't. See Kansas City. Police leaders allegedly ordered officers to target minority neighborhoods to meet ticket quotas. Tell them to be ready to kill. Everybody in the car and to only respond to calls for help in white neighborhoods. Where was I? Well, oh yeah. If the police even dare to take attempted robbery seriously, they likely just pick up some local with priors who doesn't have an alibi and try to wear them down into incriminating themselves or take some plea deal. Money plays a huge factor too. I had 2 friends who got convicted for drunk driving. Family barbecue hangouts, probation sentence with weekly checkups. Friend 2 just got a ankle bracelet for a month. Speaking of uneven punishments, let's focus on the concept of hell itself. Who the fuck deserves hell? It's an eternity of suffering. As a species, if we aren't killed in some school shooting, die of a disease at 5 because vaccines make you gay, or poisoned by chemicals in the water, we get poisoned by chemicals in the water because vaccines make you gay or poison.
Do I have anything on vaccines? I think I need to make a correction here in one part though.
States. America has the highest prison population in the world per capita thanks to the help of not only private prisons that make money, but also because of the app analyzing the characters.
Oh my god. Okay. Where did I say it? Ah, that's it. At the time served. Okay. What bit is this? They will remember us. Okay. That was a good series. Interesting to learn about the Memphis 5.
Moving on. It's Friday. That means one student has to take home a class pet.
What's this now?
We don't do that here.
Not anymore. No.
How? Did it get pulled? What the fuck? Can they see us?
In one of the most anticipated trials in New York State history, 5 teens are charged.
Or was there something else in that? Oh, okay. Fuck, I just had it up. What is it called?
Moving on. It's Friday. That means one student
Know us? When they see us. Oh yeah, that's right, Netflix, that's right. You figured your shit out with OBS, huh? Sure did. Oh no, what's this? What's this? Oh my god, I can actually see it. Oh no. What happened? What happened, Netflix? You stupid fucking DRM piece of shit. Oh, I know where this is. I know what happened. It's part 4. There we go. Let's see. Screen time. Screen time. Yep. Nope. Desktop.
Which is what? Yo, you kicking with us? From, money.
I'm from Schaumburg in Harlem.
Word?
Yeah.
I heard Schaumburg niggas hard.
What?
You hard, Corey?
No. I don't want no problems. Okay,
What?
I said I don't want no problems. You don't have to hurt me. You don't have to hurt me.
Yeah, you're right. You don't have to.
Bro, come on, please.
Apply the anesthetic twice a day. You'll be back with an infection, and I ain't got nothing much for that.
You can't just do that.
Nope, they can, they will, and you never hear anything about it. Such is reality, such is life. Boop. Oh, Netflix, you're so funny. I'm never updating my Chrome, by the way. Make sure I keep this version forever. In fact, I'm gonna do that right now.
Let's dive into the actual main theme. States. America has the highest prison population in the world per by keeping people locked up as long as possible.
In decades,
he left Angola
Especially if you're poor and have to inevitably plead guilty for a lesser sentence to avoid waiting for years in jail before even having a proper trial because you can't afford bail.
Right now.
Which purposely we list out the ways that are untreated mental illness, some both. You have guards not equipped to do anything other than be grown-up babysitters that are allowed to abuse or let you be abused with no recourse available. After time served, you're let out with a untreated mental illness, some both. You have guards not equipped to do any. You have guards not. Both. You have guards not equipped to do anything other than be grown-up babysitters that are allowed to abuse or let you be abused. No, babysitters are allowed to grown-up babysitters that are allowed to abuse or let you be abused with no recourse available. After time served, let
Sound seems kind of off. Wait, no, it should be the first one. It should be, yeah, that one.
Society. Or let them pull your teeth out. When I was beaten so bad to AIDS, you are not sentenced to rape. You are sentenced to incarceration. The hardest parts of being in prison, the worst parts to deal with, were just the sheer brutality of it. You know, there were times when I was beaten so bad that I started to piss blood. You know, they're not going to prison guards said it caused a lot of nerve damage in my teeth. So I was in horrendous pain. Your choices are live in pain or let them pull your teeth out. I didn't want them to pull my teeth out, so I had to find techniques that would allow me to cope with the physical pain.
When I think about my journey.
Oh, man. Such a long clip. Whatever, it's needed. Fuck it. I don't care. We gotta go. Fuck, I should have put a... Oh well, forgot. Forgot to put the bee back there, right back there. Oh well.
Convicted of a crime is placed into a hole. Or let you be abused with no recourse available.
The hardest parts of being in prison and the worst parts to deal with were just the sheer brutality of it. You know, there were times when I was beaten so bad that I started to piss blood. You know, they're not going to spend a lot of time and money and energy taking care of someone they plan on killing. So it's not like you're going to see a real doctor or a real dentist. You know, there's at one point I've been hit in the face so many times by prison guards that it caused a lot of nerve damage. So it's not like you're going to see a real doctor. Real. Doctor or a real dentist. You know, there's at one point I've been hit in the doctor or a real dentist. You know, there's at one point I've been hit in the face so many times by prison guards that it caused a lot of nerve damage in my teeth. So it's not like you're going to see a real doctor. So it's not like you're going to see a real doctor or a real dentist. You know. So it's not like you're going to see a real doctor or a real dentist. You know, there's at one point I've been hit in the face so many times by prison guards that it caused a lot of nerve damage in my teeth. So I was in horrendous. At one point I had a lot of nerve damage in my teeth. Times by prison guards that it caused a lot of nerve damage in my teeth. So I was times by prison guards that it caused a lot of nerve damage in my teeth. A lot of nerve damage in my teeth. So I was in horrendous pain. Your choices are live in pain or let them pull your teeth out. I didn't want.
God, these titles are long as fuck.
You know, they're not going to spend a lot of time and money and energy taking care of someone they plan.
God, I'm really starting to hate Diablo 4, I think.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm Hun the Hound. We're getting ready to do the guild games of the
You shaved off your paws.
camera would walk with me, that'd be great. Thank you. No, we're getting ready to do the guild games. We're gonna do some tug of war and don't touch the stump. All violent video games stereotypes, you know. So we're gonna gather out here. There is, if you see on the where this shadow is, there is frost on the grass. And I'm falling, but we're gonna record it and have some fun.
Only for 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3.
What's this dumb wise? What's this one doing here? Not doing it. Stretch. Gotta limber up.
You don't have to hold on. 1, 2, 3, pull!
No, bye-bye.
Looks like it's winning.
Good try,
Don't worry, guys. You guys can still get points. 3, 2, 1.
Alright. This just makes me want to watch Squid Games again. Oh, anyways. Wonderful stuff, fun stuff.
Been hit in the face so many times by prison guards that it caused a lot of nerve damage in my teeth. So I was in horrendous pain. Your choices are live in pain or let them pull your teeth out. I didn't want them to pull my teeth out, so I had to.
For time served, you're let out with a kick in the ass.
Yeah, I guess when comes to that point. Oh yeah, what was I looking up? I was looking up Chrome. Yeah, give me the... I don't know why I have to search for it. It's going to be in one of the program files. Is it? Yeah, there it is. Oh, hurry up, finish.
With a kick in the ass and a good luck for good measure. After time served, you're let out. A kick in the ass and a good luck for good measure. Generally, society sees you as irredeemable. If you have a felony record, you're nearly fucked for life in terms of employment and opportunities.
We have many people, not only do they serve their
employment and opportunities.
We have many people, not only do they serve their time, not only do they serve their
Oh my gosh, shut up. Thank you there.
We have many people, not only do they serve their time, but once they leave, it's still as if they have an F felon as sort of the scarlet letter for the rest of their lives because they have faced extreme discrimination.
And 2 out of 3 end up right back in a cell because their situation is so desperate. We've even seen people commit tiny crimes and purposely get arrested because then at least they'd have a roof over their heads.
The idea of the prison corrections system is to reform people. Teach them what they did was wrong and help them become productive in their own lives. Something you don't learn in solitary or being forced to interact with.
Alright, where's the thing on solitary? Solitary confinement is torture. Confinement is torture. The fuck is that? Not JPEG. We want to save it as a PNG.
Them become productive in their own lives. Something you don't learn in solitary or being forced to interact with other prisoners and guards wouldn't care beyond having a mess to clean up if you just dropped dead. Let's not forget how prison rape is seen as something hilarious and part of the punishment to a lot of people.
Check out.
This is never going to work. Of course it will. You look.
We are addicted to self-gratifying emotional punishment. That guy hurt someone?
Punish!
Stole something? Punish! Sexual assault or a teenager sexting with their lover?
Punish!
That guy murdered someone? Finish! The system that reforms should go beyond our emotional desires to get even with those who wronged us. To see people rise above their wrong rather than be weighted down by them still decades later. I'm not above it myself. If someone hurt someone I love, there would be hell to pay. And who wouldn't feel that way? That's the point. My emotional compromise, a desire for revenge, shouldn't trump the idea of actual human justice and rehabilitation. An ethical system should go beyond.
And it also ignores the fact that most people that serve time are non-violent offenders, just carrying drugs.
Individuals in motion. Within the realm of has-been hotel. Here's the predicament and the source of a lot of mockery Charlie faces. Taking an individuals who are damned to hell and trying to rehabilitate them so they can move on to a better life.
What in the 9 circles makes me think a single denizen of hell would give 2 shits about becoming a better person?
I think a lot of lives would be better if we started adapting that concept like other developed nations have. Because what we have right now is pretty fucked up. A good example would be the Kids for Cash documentary. The story of 2 judges that threw hundreds of kids into the prison system and received...
No, where's the, oh... Was it Scandinavia? Farm, eh? I feel like that's not what I got. I'm gonna try it. The farm. Is it just 2018? Only got 2 stars. Blah, blah, blah. Guess I better go get it. Come here. Come here. Come here. Tucker, come here.
financial kickback for doing so.
I was known for being a jokester.
Alright, what are we doing here?
Started adapting that concept like other development. Adapt that concept like other developed nations have. Because what we have right now is pretty fucked up. A good example would be the Kids for Cash documentary. The story of two judges that threw hundreds of kids into the prison system and received financial kickbacks for doing so.
I was known for being a jokester.
And he was always a fire.
Audio cuts in a little too hard.
Doing so.
I was known for being a jokester.
And he was always a fireball.
We were talking about how funny it would be if we made a fake MySpace page about my vice principal.
I was trying to stay out of trouble. That's when everything started.
Inside the cap. To a 10-year-old in a schoolyard fight without serious injuries after she tried to explain that she was assaulted and was defending herself. Civarella told me there's no such thing as self-defense. To a 13-year-old cited for graffiti using a marker on a school window. When I went to the pre-hearing meeting, they said in front of many victims spoke of being placed in facilities populated by individuals charged with the people that I was housed with at Camp Adams were there for serious offenses from surrounding. Many victims spoke of being placed in facilities populated by individuals charged with far more serious offenses, including armed robbery, arson, aggravated assault, sexual offenses, and other violent felonies. The people that I was housed with at Camp Adams were there for serious offenses from surrounding counties. You know, assaulting an officer, robbery, arson. And then there were people from Luzerne County that were in there for stealing a pack of M&Ms or getting into a tiff with their high school teacher.
I also have some personal story.
I think to shorten up that. There we go. Get to the actual deposition.
And then they shipped me off to Camp Adams. The people that I was housed with at Camp Adams were there for serious offenses from surrounding counties. You know, assaulting an officer, robbery, arson. And then there were people from Luzerne County that were in there for stealing a pack of M&Ms or getting into a tiff with their high school teacher.
I also have some personal stories. Friend of mine. Named Bob. Got held up at gunpoint one night by a hooded thief. Mr. Robber took his as black as you are, Bob responds. Mr. Robber left him be. He reported to the police. Black man robbed seriously. Oftentimes they don't. See, Kansas City police leaders allegedly ordered officers to target minority neighborhoods to meet ticket quotas. Tell them to be ready to kill everybody in the car and to only respond to calls for help in white neighborhoods. Where was I? Oh yeah. If the police even dare to take attempted robbery seriously in white neighborhoods. Where was I? Oh yeah. If the police even dare to take attempted robbery seriously, they likely just pick up some local with priors who doesn't have an alibi and try to wear them down into incriminating themselves or take some plea deal. Money plays a huge factor too. I had two friends who got convicted for drunk driving on separate occasions within the same city. Friend one for his first and only sentence with weekly checkups of uneven punishments. Let's focus on the concept of hell itself. Who the fuck deserves hell? It's an eternity of suffering. As a species, if we aren't killed in some school shooting, die of a disease at 5 because vaccines make you gay, or poisoned by chemicals in the water, we get 50 to 100 die of a disease at...
What the hell is that? It's just funny that I found this. I didn't even I didn't even pre-search this when I wrote the script. I just assumed that someone would probably have said this, and yeah, someone did. Make you gay, vaccines make you gay, apparently.
die of a disease at 5 because vaccines make you gay, or poisoned by chemicals in the water, as a species, if we aren't killed in some school shooting, killed in some species, if we aren't
USA Today? Okay, I guess it's okay then. Oh my fucking god, these ads. Just fucking unloading on ads. What happened to the article I fucking clicked on? Jesus fucking Christ. So I can just close that? Fuck. Okay, just get that fucking headline. I know we're gonna have friends over today, so got a couple friends over right now. We're going to entertain guests, I think. Yes. Ember and coffee. Cool girls.
As a species, if we aren't killed in some school shooting, die of a disease at 5 because vaccines make you gay, or poisoned by chemicals in the water, we get 50 to 100 years on average to exist on this planet. Unless you are a billionaire running a diamond mine and
God, ads. Ads, you fucking kidding? Okay, wait a minute. I don't know why I'm using this browser for that. There we go. Oh my god. Creepy fuck. You know what? Errol Musk also said he felt the only reason for being on Earth is to reproduce. Okay. Then why the fuck do you even get billions then? Why don't you just give all your money away? Have a bunch of kids. I mean, yeah, I guess if you are able to afford everything and everything's taken care of for you, you don't have to worry about a goddamn thing. I'm sorry, there comes a point where you just have so much fucking money you don't have to worry about anything. So yeah, of course you'd probably think like, oh yeah, the only reason we exist is just to spray cum everywhere.
$50 to $100 years on average to exist on this planet. Unless you are a billionaire running a diamond mine and fucking your stepdaughter to pump out as many units as possible. About a stepdaughter to pump.
Okay, I would like to draw on here and put like a line or something. And not have to go into fucking like Photoshop or some shit. Can I do that? Can I put like an object or something? Is it gonna fucking let me? Is it gonna load? Is it gonna do anything? Jesus Christ, what are we doing? Alright. I don't even want fucking motion graphics. I just want to fucking like put like a line.
And here as well. And like I said, there's so much potential. So I want to jump right in because it's back to the flying around our scene. That's really cool. By this random transforms.
Figure that out later. Yeah, there we go. Shapes, circles, whatever. Oh my god. Fucking do something, Da Vinci. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. Is this the one I'm looking at?
Hey, welcome to another or the screen. So or connect things. So let me show you how that works. So we're going to bring this down. So or you could even move it around the screen, meter out. But right here is effect mask. So now what we want to do is we want to connect this.
Oh, you created the rectangle already.
So there is our rec. First we have a background. And then we're going to start off because there's nothing connected to this media out. So the first thing we want to do is bring down some elements. So we're going to bring down a background. So you can either click on this, which will connect everything, or just go ahead and drag it down so it doesn't automatically connect things. Okay, so first we have a background. And then we're going to start off with a rectangle. We'll bring it down here. So we understand the concept of these different views. And so right now, let me show you the views of the rectangle and also the background, and we'll come back to these two objects right here. So we'll go here and show it on the left. So there is our rectangle. Background is shown here on the right view. So right now the color is black. So let's go ahead and change it to something that we can actually see. Let's make this a yellow color. Okay. So right now our entire background is yellow and our rectangle is right here. However, they are not together. So that's where we need to connect these two. So we're going to drag this right here and connect it to the background. Now what you notice here is on each of these connectors, it tells you what it does. So right here, this is like the output over to this effect mask. And I'm going to bring in another object, which is called the merge. So the merge is going to merge or connect things. So let me show you how that works. So we're going to bring this down. And the merge has more options. So if you look over here, there is a foreground element. Here is background.
I like how he's showing me this shit, but on my monitor, oh, there it goes. It's just taking its time.
Right here is effect mask. So now what we want to do is we want to connect it.
Okay, where's my merge? Where's my merge?
To the merge, and then right here to the media out. But right now we have our background and rectangle shown on the screen. So if you look here, you can move your rectangle around. Actually, we'll go ahead and select the rectangle, move it around, or you can even move it around here. So as you can see, we can move things around, we can resize it. But what we actually want to do is have this new rectangle and background above our final output. So that's why this merge is so important. So we're going to go ahead and connect both of these elements from the background over to this merge. So now it's connected to all of this. And we'll go here to media out, make sure it's on the right view. And there it is. We now have our brand new shape and background color above our actual video clip. And we'll go here to media 1. So you can see here, we can see the outline of our shape and the background color. And we can still do all the resizing that we need. And then some other things that you can do with the shape is, instead of just having it be a solid color, if you just want an outline, you can come here to the actual rectangle properties, and you see where it says solid, just uncheck that. Now it's not solid, and now you can actually change the border options. So here's the border width is at 0. If you increase it, it will increase the size of the borders. And so that is another thing that you can do with the shape. And as you can see, it is kind of confusing at the beginning, but once you understand how to connect these and how they kind of work, it's a pretty easy process, and it's very flexible. So that is the rectangle.
For fast website hosting and top-notch service and features, check out SiteGround, your preferred service news at geekoutdoors.com. For more information, check out the affiliate link in the description area below.
So let me show you some other shapes. So we're going to go ahead and disconnect this rectangle for now.
Oh my god, is that heavy duty? Come on. Close and reopen. Where? Yes.
We're going out for notes.
Oh, okay. Where are we going?
Tavern.
What?
Tavern.
Oh, okay.
people suffering anyways. Other than religious people trying to bully queer kids into suicide over their personal sex hang-ups. I noticed a lot of publicly rotten pieces of shit all of a sudden find religion one day.
All right, so a few months.
Wow.
Okay, moving on to this. Late last week marked a significant occasion, at least an occasion that we're supposed to believe is significant. It was the 25th anniversary of the death of Matthew Shepard. And the media and many on the left published their tributes to Matthew Shepard, who they say, of course, and have been saying for 2.5 decades now, was the victim of a barbaric anti-gay hate crime. That's what they say. And so there are a lot of examples I could show you of the left talking about this and talking about Matthew Shepard.
Except he was like fucking crucified. This fucking boring ass fuck. Being tortured, left to die, 1998.
A lot of tweets, a lot of articles, and video tributes, and all the rest of it. So here's just one example. This is from the Daily Beast. It says, in his 1968 speech at the National Cathedral, Martin Luther King Jr. proclaimed that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. While that may be true, there are peaks and valleys along that path, especially when it comes to power, fighting for equality, compassion, remembering about his life, his slaying, and the impact it had on the movement dedicated to achieving freedom for all. Premiering October 9th, the Matthew Shepard's One Day in 1998 made national headlines that helped drive a campaign for hate crime legislation and, in the process, a wide range of LGBTQ+ rights. That it took a horrific homicide to spur such changes continues to be a sad commentary about how civil liberties are acquired. Sadder still, though, is this documentary's coda about the potential limits of progress and the consequent necessity of pushing back against the omnipresent forces of malicious bigotry. Now, it goes on from there to tell the story of how Shepard was targeted for his sexuality and viciously murdered because of it. In fact, we have a clip from that Investigation Discovery put out from their documentary, which is just someone reading a letter from Matthew Shepard to show what a great guy he was and how sad it all is. Let's play that clip.
Hey, Mom. I'm writing to say hello. How is everything? I've been okay, kind of homesick. Having trouble with getting into this swing of things. But it won't last long, I hope. I've been real depressed, and I think it's let down. I came back and the weather was crummy, and I miss home. Miss you.
Do I dare look at the fucking comments? Wow.
Okay, moving on to this late.
Wait, is that what I was going to go into?
And I miss home. Miss you. Love, Matt.
Okay, so we got the dramatic music in the background, reading the letter. Reading the letter from Matthew Shepard like he's some sort of a great historical figure. And this is all part of the same narrative, again, that Matt can't rights, and he was killed for being gay. And the problem, of course, with that narrative is that it's a total, absolute lie. And it still, somehow it still surprises me that there are people out there, lots of people, who don't know that this was a lie. I was tweeting about it yesterday.
He was fucking led.
Briefly, and I heard from a lot of people.
He was fucking led on.
Of course, a lot of people left.
Opposition to him.
Who were, even they can't deny that it's a lie, but instead they just get mad at you for talking about it. But even though there are many other people not on the left who say, well, I hadn't heard this before, I didn't realize. First I'm hearing it. I always thought Matthew Shepard. And I don't blame them. It's just, this just shows how the left's control of information, while it has been compromised in recent years because of the internet and social media and all that, they still largely control the spread of information, and therefore largely have the ability to decide, to determine our own history, and how we view our own history, and events in history, including events that were not all that long ago. So the narrative, in case you didn't know this, if you heard about Matthew Shepard, everyone heard about Matthew Shepard, and my generation, I graduated high school in 2004, and Matthew Shepard murder was in 1998. So I'm right in the generation where they hit us hard. They hit us very hard with the Matthew Shepard thing. And I was told, I remember hearing about this in school, and they would tell us about what a terrible hate crime it was. And of course, when I was a kid in school, I believed it. I didn't question it. But we know now that all that is untrue. Now, the only thing that's true is that he was murdered. Yes, so he was a person who was murdered. He's one of the thousands of murder victims that we've had in this country over the last 25 years. But what we know now, and what we've known for a long time, and this again is not in dispute, is that he was not killed for being gay. This was a drug-related dispute. Matthew Shepard was a drug dealer. He was a meth dealer. He wasn't just dealing any drug. He was dealing meth. He was dealing straight poison.
So, what's that supposed to do with anything?
And his murderers were also drug dealers. And they were gay too. So Matthew Shepard was a gay drug addict and drug dealer. And
his murderers were gay all of a sudden, huh? Oh, I can't wait to find out about this. Let's see, The Guardian. Robbed of his keys, wallet, and shoes, beaten repeatedly by one or both men, taken from the truck, pistol whipped 18 times in the head, kicked between the legs, tied to a fence, set on fire, left unconscious. This is from The Guardian. Alright. Ah, okay. So they're both gay. Oh, that just changes the narrative slightly. Because most people in poverty are usually minorities. They're black, gay, trans. Due to alienation from family and other friends. So yes, they often fall into dealing in drugs and pimping themselves out. So it's another one of those things like, well, in a more accepting society, would you have been in that situation? So we got one little book that kind of changes it. So where's the evidence on all this?
He had had previous sexual encounters with at least one of his killers. So he was killed by a former gay lover because he was a drug dealer, not because he's gay. That's the fact. It is not, despite what the left says, it is not dangerous to be gay in this country. At least you're not going to be killed for it.
Yeah. Not federally, at least. Yeah, try being openly gay in certain areas of the United States and see what happens.
Are other dangers, health dangers, and so on. But you're not going to be hunted down and killed for it. Now, if you're a meth dealer, on the other hand, that is a very dangerous occupation. Now you are in a world with people who, by definition, don't care about the law, are very often very violent people, and this is the world you're in now. And so Matthew Shepard is one of the many meth dealers and drug dealers who have been killed. And now, is it, as I said, I talked about this on Twitter, it's revealing that when you bring this to the left, they won't even, most of them won't deny what I'm saying. Not directly, because they know they can't. It's just, they know they can't.
I don't know, is there any evidence other than this fucking book?
Instead, they'll just label you a homophobe. Well, how dare you bring this up in the first place? Or they'll try they'll try to, well, this doesn't mean that death isn't sad and shouldn't be remembered. Every murder is sad in its own way, I suppose. But first of all, I gotta be honest with you. I don't spend a lot of time mourning the deaths of meth dealers. I kind of feel like you get into that line.
Why would someone deal meth, though? Would a person well off generally deal meth? Stupid fuck.
Work then, and ultimately it claims.
Alright, I need to stop listening to this shit. It's distracting. So let's explain the murder, though. Why did they murder them? Like, why did they murder him, though? Was he trying to cheat him out of some products? Did he owe him money? Drug addicted prostitute who dies of danger, suffered periods of depression, blah, 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 blah. Possibly a result of being gang raped a few years earlier. It's not Matthew Shepard became a... Man, I can only imagine where the depression came from, huh? Anyways, so why was he murdered, though? So what, they just murdered him for drug money? Let's see, the unemployed men had not, both all unemployed. I knew that what people's sexual orientation was because my best friend's son was gay. I saw them hanging around with Russell. neat. Anyways.
Sick Creek gets a kick out of people suffering anyways. Other than religious people trying...
You just have this fan blare in the background.
Other than religious people trying to bully queer kids into suicide over their personal sex hang-ups.
Okay, good. Can't see it still.
I notice a lot of publicly rotten pieces of shit all of a sudden find religion one day. They're usually the types that make it everyone's problem, too. They think religious freedom is not about choosing what superstitious-based rules they abide by for themselves. It's about forcing others to abide by those rules.
Yes. Yes.
You can say what you want about this country, and I love this place. I love the freedoms we used to have. I love it. I love that, you know. And I say I love this place. I wouldn't have it any other way, wouldn't live it any other time in history and any other place. But say what you want about America, land of the free, home of the brave. We got some dumbass motherfuckers floating around this country. Dumbass motherfuckers, you know? Yeah. Now, obviously, that doesn't include this audience. I understand that. You seem intelligent and perceptive, but the rest of them, holy jumping fucking shitballs. Dumber than a second coat of paint. And this ain't just ranting and raving. This ain't just blowing off steam. I got a little evidence to support my claim. It just seems to me, that only a really low IQ population could have taken this beautiful continent, this magnificent American landscape that we inherited. Well, actually, we stole it from the Mexicans and the Indians, but hey, it was not March. And in between the mini March, you got the car lot. I think it's just fucking dandy to the malls, shopping, and eating dogs, triple bacon, cheeseburgers, deep fried them. Especially if you dip them in butter and put a little sauce. Big fat motherfuckers walking around.
That's... Except for... No. It's not the rights one. Is it freedom of choice? No. created equal. There we go.
There's one thing you might have noticed I don't complain about. Politicians.
Is it on there?
Say, well, he's fairly intelligent.
Oh, he's full of shit.
Then there are some people, they're not stupid. Dan Quayle is all three. All three. Stupid, full of shit, and fucking nuts. Now I probably got some other group, Jigaboo, Skinhead, Jungle Pop, Hun, good or bad. The context that makes them good or bad.
And of course, the country is founded on the double standard. That's our history. We were founded on a very basic double standard. This country was founded by slave owners who wanted to be free. Am I right? A group of slave owners who wanted to be free. So they killed a lot of white English people in order to continue owning their black African people so they could wipe out the rest of the red Indian people and move west and steal the rest of the land from the brown Mexican people, give them a place to take off and drop their nuclear weapons on the yellow Japanese people. You know what the motto? You know what the motto of this country ought to be? You give us a color, we'll wipe it out. You got it. So anyway, about 80 years after the Constitution is ratified, 80 years later, the slaves are freed. Not so you really notice it, of course. Just sort of on paper. And that was, of course, during the Civil War. Now, there's another phrase I dearly love. That is a true oxymoron if I've ever heard one. Civil War. Do you think any country could really have a civil war? Say, pardon me. I'm awfully sorry. I'm awfully sorry.
Okay, fine. You are all diseased. So you get all the clips here.
Now listen, I've been out here all this time, and I haven't been complaining about anything yet, so I think it's time to go into the complaint department. This is just a series of things that are pissing me off, okay? A series of... Now, listen. Like it's a fucking accident, you know? Oh, yes, yes, he did, yes, yes. Part, come in. You know, you wouldn't say someone was openly black. And while we're at it, styles, urban trends, urban music, I was... Okay? Stop pretending to be black. And no matter what color you are, you go, girl, should probably go. Right along. Right along with you the man. Hey, you the man. Oh yeah, well you the fucking honky. Because you do know, folks, living in this country, you're bound to know that every time you're exposed to advertising, you realize once again that America's leading in cut pure American. It only comes from certain places, certain sources, advertising, politics, country. This entire country is completely full of shit and always has been. From the Declaration of Independence to the Constitution to the Star-Spangled Banner, it's still nothing more than one big steaming pile of red, white, and blue all-American bullshit. Because think of how we started. Think of that. This country was founded by a group of slave owners who told us all men are created equal. Oh yeah, all men, except for Indians and niggers and women, right?
They abide by for themselves. It's about forcing others to abide by those rules against their will and call it love. And there is no hate greater than Christian love.
I guess I didn't need that George Carlin clip. Oh well, I'm gonna download it anyways. Boop, boop, boom. Motherfucker. Where did I put all my hate shit? No, it was in other videos. Here's a fun one. Or not.
embrace who you want.
Women who get abortions are murdered.
Love, and they're trying to justify it, and so the church trying to justify it. But there are people going around saying, well, love is love, and magnify the sin of homosexuality. It's because no one goes around saying murdering is okay, that theft is okay. But there are people going around saying, well, love is love, and homosexuality is just love, and they're trying to justify it. And so the church has to do some sort of defense. And that's why this sin gets more attention than the others. And so they can escape their shame not by marching down the street shouting pride, embrace who you are, look within. They can escape their shame by casting out Christ and receiving his forgiveness.
Oh, I just want to missile strike that entire room. Solve a lot of problems, you know.
By the sin of homosexuality. And the question is, then why do we magnify?
Alright, where's all my other shit that I downloaded? There it is, okay. Open file location. Oh, this... You know, I sort by fucking date. How do I change the options of sort by? State modified. There it is.
I was just so shocked to have any words. Super sad, just fine.
Police say 53-year-old Wendell Melton got into an argument with his 14-year-old son, Giovanni Melton, prompting the father to shoot and kill his own son.
When I first heard it,
Circus world, clown world. Trash world.
Police say 53-year-old. Police say 53-year-old to shoot and kill his own son.
When I
10 News begins with break.
San Diego student murder. His own father accused of killing him because he was gay. 10 News just confirmed. UC San Diego student murder. This former UC San Diego student murder. His own father accused of killing him because he was gay. 10.
And then where is the? Oh yeah, we got the Texas preacher.
Correct. And that people, this.
They should be sentenced, they should be lined up against the they should be convicted in a lawful trial. They should be sentenced, they should be lined up against the wall and shot in the back of the head. That's what God teaches.
Statement calling for the execution of gay gave a statement calling for the Dylan Oz. Continued on Sunday when Pastor Dylan Oz gave a statement calling.
They should be sentenced, death, they should be lined up against the wall and shot in the back of the head. That's what God teaches.
And then you get the results of that right around here.
It's called prejudice, where it's almost like crispy. He had depressed post-fracture, meaning feeling things out. I'm just like, wow, like, I can't even believe what they're telling me is what we're seeing. Oh my god, that night I think I'm all over this kid. All over him. He didn't look like a child. I just remember that night thinking,
Oh, where is the sound at? Is it number 6? Nope. There it is.
Feel it crunchy on his head. You could think of all over this kid.
Okay, what do we got here? Boop, 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 and boop. Alright, Trials of Gabriel Fernandez. 2020. This one is long ass title too. WFA. I need to take a shower.
Actually, the best part of college, but I still like to use
Yes.
it.
This is
You know, when I was watching Drawn Together like 5 years ago, I did not find it funny at all anymore. I just think the shock was all from surface level and just did not have the impact.
People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
No, you brought a fucking up.
Yes. I think we're all gone. Okay. Maybe.